Hi, good morning. You're listening to iAntique with Bruce, and I'm Bruce Limecooler. Last week, we're talking about Pyrex, a glass that has an extreme work ethic and a history. But today, we're going to be talking about lamps and lighting from the Shady Lady perspective. We will come to you every Saturday from 6 to 7 a.m. on KCMO Talk Radio 710 and now on FM 103.7. We're brought to you by the Brass Armadillo Antique Mall and our sister networking site of iantique.com. Like to remind you, coming up at the store this month, the whole month of October, on Sundays, we're going to be doing drawings, prizes, food, fun, and festivities. And coming up at the end of the month, during the spooky Halloween time frame, we're going to be doing a big Halloween extravaganza where we'll be doing safe trick-or-treating for the children and offering up a 15% off sale for a one-day special event. But today, let's get back into our topic, lamps and lighting from the Shady Lady perspective. My guest today is Nancy Robertson. Nancy's very knowledgeable on lamps and lighting. In fact, she has a whole booth just on lamps, lighting, parts, accessories, and all the new and fun and creative, inventive things that you can do with that. So good morning, Nancy.
Good morning, Bruce. Thanks for having me.
Well, I really enjoy Nancy as an individual. She's been in my mall for, quite some time. I think maybe even longer than I have. How long have you been a dealer at the Brass Armadillo?
Longer than you, Bruce. It's been 16 years.
Well, I'm working on 17, so I think you might have. I know you were there before I got started, so it's been a long, long time. But it's been a fun trip, and we've enjoyed so many different things. In fact, on iAntique, you and I have done several seminars and videos that folks can go and check out and look at on that as well, right?
Yes, those are great.
Okay, well, I explained briefly, but what are some of the things that you carry in your booth at the Brass Armadillo?
Well, I have two booths. One of them I do lamps and lamp parts. The other one I have is a Victorian flair with Victorian cards. Right now, the busiest one is the lamps and the lamps repair, or I'm doing lamp repair, selling a lot of lamp parts, ordering lamp parts for special orders, people looking for a certain part.
That's a real hot item, the lamps and the lamp repurposing and setting that up in this day and age, because folks want that special niche in their home to look just a certain way, correct?
Oh, yes. And the old stuff has more quality than the stuff they're finding today at the stores. And so they want to recreate, reinvent, put together something new. It's pretty exciting to see them come into the mall and work on a project and search for the pieces and put it all together.
Yeah, and that's a part of the antique malls that is out there for individuals that they didn't used to always look at. They always wanted a completed finished product, and even though you have some completed finished products, it's very interesting to find them seeking out the parts that go along with it to make it their own.
Well, they're creating their own projects, and it's very helpful to go and find the cords and the sockets and all the parts you need to put it all together. Plus, look throughout the mall for pieces that they're searching to put their project together with. And I've done more in the past year and a half with the lamp repair because I'm helping people finish their project and light it up and make it beautiful.
I think that's cool. Just this morning when I walked in the door at the store, I had one of my dealers there, and she was buying an old galvanized bucket, and it was full of holes. And I was like, well, hey, Annette, what are you going to do with that? She says, I'm turning this into a lamp.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing how just some of those unique items that you can find with all the character in the world and make a lamp that you can enjoy for forever.
Oh, yeah. There's so many great ideas out there, and there's a lot of creative people that are making them, and it's unique art.
Yeah, we're just there to help them. Well, I know you're nicknamed the Shady Lady. Would you mind telling us just how that came about? She's smiling now.
Well, you like saying that.
I do.
I was in the Bella Hess Antique Mall in North Kansas City about 17 years ago, right, Brass Armadillo, and everybody decided that everyone was going to have a nickname.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't have a chance to come up with one. They'd already named me the Shady Lady.
Because you made lampshades.
Because I did mostly shades then, and there was no way around not having that name because they were calling me it, and that was me.
Well, if you're just now joining us, we're talking about lamps and lighting from the Shady Lady's perspective. You're listening to iAntique with Bruce, and we're brought to you by the Brass Armadillo and iAntique.com. And if you'd like to become a dealer at the Brass Armadillo, just mention you heard it here on the show, and we'll give you a special rental incentive. But I want to get back to the Shady Lady. You've made some beautiful lampshades in our time together. In fact, you took an old T-shirt, a Brass Armadillo logo T-shirt, and we now have that lampshade right up at our front counter, and it's admired by many.
That got me some brownie points. Yeah, it's a green armadillo, and it's right there on the front counter. You could use T-shirts. You can, be creative and use so many different things to cover the wire frames for the shades.
I know now you're actually finding a bigger market instead of making the shades. You said you're finding a bigger market in the frames.
Yes, the frames. If you check out Pinterest.com or some of the HGTV shows, they are doing different things with them. They're attaching prisms to them. They're hanging silverware from them. They're tying fabric on them. They're doing so many different things to them. Even just a wire frame by itself, they're taking those old Edison bulbs.
Yeah.
And putting them in there without anything on them at all.
Oh, I think that's really interesting. Mm-hmm. So you've been reworking lamps for quite some time now. How long has that been your passion?
Well, probably for a good 20 years. I started making the shades, and then I was working at a clock shop that did lamp repair, and I started filling in for the guy that was doing the lamp repair, and so it got me into the lamp side of it, and that was really great because I thought, wow, I can make anything I want out of a lamp. Yeah. And so I started learning lamp repair. It was quite a challenge, and I
heard you shut all the lights out in a place one time. You just stuck the wrong wire in the wrong place, and all the lights went out.
It was a lesson to be learned, but I mastered it, and some of it's very easy that just about anybody could do. Others are a little more complicated.
Yeah, we're going to get into that a little bit here, on some of the different types of lights. But would you mind telling us just a little bit about the history of lamps and lighting as a whole, so maybe we can understand where we came from?
Well, to me, lamps are the light and life of every room in your house. It can really bring out your personality. It can, if a room has a certain glow to it, it's very attractive, very peaceful. And you can create it yourself, or you can, look for projects to reinvent the lamps and shades and make it go along with what you collect or your
Well, I find it interesting, it started with just a candle.
Oh, yeah.
And then, we moved forward and there was oil lamps, and there's, eventually Edison brought us into the electronic age, and, so we've moved from fireplaces and candles and which are quite collectible, the actual little holders that people used to use to carry the candles around, and the holders for the oil lamps, which were dangerous, but at the same time, it was a part of the history of how that came about.
Right. Well, oil lamps have come back. They're very, very popular. A lot of people, some of them are restoring them with electricity. Others are keeping them original. But if the lights go out, you've got light. If you've got oil lamps, you can have them hang on the wall, on the mantle. But, safety is a concern, and you want to make sure that you're not going to burn the house down.
It's so very, very true. But I agree with you. I see the old oil lamps being strongly sought after for their history, their beauty. I even see a lot of people who are preppers. They want to have an ability to have light in their home. They understand the importance of that. And, changing or converting lamps isn't a new thing, because many of the old oil and gas lamps were converted into electrical lamps when electricity became popular.
Right. And just as many are left original as converted, and it's okay to convert it. Some of them you can convert back to an oil lamp, but, if they happen to drill a hole in something, then it can't be taken back to original. But they're getting hard to find. Some of the old Gone with the Wind lamps and the 12-inch glass shades. A lot of the fixtures are coming back, too.
Yeah, and, it's interesting to point out that even if you have one of those old lamps, one of those old oil lamps, we at the Brass Armadillo or Nancy can get you the parts that you need to keep it viable and functional today.
Oh yeah, I have a great supplier for the lamp parts, and if I can't find a part that I can order, then you look on the secondary market, and you can you can do what you want with it. You can even turn it into just a candle holder as opposed to having electricity.
Sure. Well, you're listening to iAntique with Bruce, and our show today is Lamps and Lighting from the Shady Lady's perspective. We're brought to you by the Brass Armadillo and iAntique.com. That is iAntique.com. You can also follow us on Facebook at Kansas City Brass Armadillo. Don't forget, October is Harvest Month at the Brass Armadillo, and we're all getting ready for Halloween. And every Sunday, we're going to be doing food, fun, prizes, and festivities. And it's all going to sum up at the end of the month when we're going to be doing a one-day 15% off sale on Halloween with Safe Trick-or-Treating. Next week's show is going to be Black Americana, collectibles for all ages. We're going to dig into just what you can do to find vintage Black Americana collectibles. When we come back, we'll be talking more with Lamps and Lighting about the Shady Lady perspective.
KCMO Talk Radio is Mark Levin.
We're a nation with over $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities. We are a nation destroying itself. We are a nation committing suicide. What a bunch of self-defeating morons. That there are an awful lot of stupid people posing as commentators on cable TV. All this fence sitting, I can't stand that either. Country's going to hell and we have all these fence sitters.
Weekdays 5 to 8 on KCMO Talk Radio 710 and 103.7 FM. When you're ready to get it right, get KCMO Talk Radio 710 now at 103.7 FM.
When you're in the mood for country music, try Cumulus's newest radio station, 102.5 Nash Icon, with at least 50 minutes of yesterday and today's best country music every hour, and Kansas City's home of the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup and Nebraska Huskers football.
Kansas City's talk station, Talk Radio 710, and now at 103.7 FM. The biggest names in talk radio, even easier to listen to. AM, FM, and online at KCMOTalkRadio.com.
Attention antique shoppers, if you're looking for the ultimate antique adventure, you will find it at the Brass Armadillo Antique Mall, just off I-70 between exits 21 and 24 in Grain Valley. We are the perfect place to stroll aisle after aisle of fine antiques and collectibles. Whether it's our fine antiques, vintage, or retro items, we have them all. Antiques are what we know at the Brass Armadillo. With hundreds of antique dealers and millions of items, it is a shopper's paradise. So come on out to the Brass Armadillo Antique Mall, just off I-70 between exits 21 and 24 in Grain Valley. We're open 9 to 9 every day. Come see what everybody's talking about.
That's the word. We got everybody talking. Antiques are all we know. We got everybody talking. Everybody's talking about the Brass Armadillo. Brass Armadillo. Everybody's talking.
We are your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say. We want you to be okay. Enroll, we say. Take care, people, for goodness sake.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
This is Catherine from Olathe, Kansas. Well, I started at 252 pounds and did not like where I was. I did the surgery. Not even a year later, I was at 160 pounds, and I am loving every minute of it. I love getting dressed and shopping and ready to do anything.
Minimally Invasive Surgery Hospital.
The doctors follow up with you every month. There are support groups once a month, as well as rules class every single week with the doctors themselves.
Minimally Invasive Surgery Hospital holds free weight loss seminars on Saturdays.
I love the number of options they have available. They also accept Missouri Medicaid. For someone on the fence of weight loss surgery, I would say go for it. You don't really have anything to lose other than weight, and it just makes you feel good.
Minimally Invasive Surgery Hospital. Attend a free weight loss seminar. Saturday, October 11th. Call 913-322-7401 or laplose.com.
Last night we put on an epic light show.
Yeah, we did.
The crowd loved us. We love the crowd.
Wait, but there were only 4 people out there.
Yeah, but did you see their 4 faces? All 8 of their eyes lit up brighter than ours. And we're fireflies.
Yeah, we are.
Hey, that one girl, she looked like she'd never seen glow in the dark like this before, and we invented glow in the dark.
Yeah, we invented it.
And we're gonna be out here every night, rocking out our light show at a forest near you.
Woohoo!
So come check us out.
Check us out.
And bring your kid, all ages show. Oh, but don't bring any of those glass jars, because they make us kind of nervous.
Yeah, and I'm super claustrophobic.
Whether you're rocking their world or they're rocking yours, some memories never fade. Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you and discover other cool things to do when you go, like fishing, biking, or even camping. Visit discovertheforest.org.
See you later!
Yeah, see you soon.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Talkin' Kansas City. KCMO Talk Radio 710, now on FM at 103.7.
Welcome back. You're listening to iAntique with Bruce, and I'm your host, Bruce Limekooler. We come to you every Saturday from 6 to 7 a.m. on KCMO Talk Radio 710 and on FM 103.7. Our show today, Lamps and Lighting from the Shady Lady Perspective. And we're going to be coming to you next week on Black Americana, collectibles for all ages. But Nancy's got so many interesting topics when it comes to lamps and repairing lamps and fixing lamps. And I think one of the most interesting things is the fact that everybody has old lamps in their house. And, you know, they don't sell for much just as an old electrical lamp. What's some advice you have there?
Well, some people, when the lamps quit working, they don't know where to take them to get them fixed, or they just they seem broke, or the shade's worn out, and you know it's easier for them to look for something new than to fix it. But you know, today I think more and more people are out there wanting to fix up the old lamps and rewire them. It's really scary on how some people will buy lamps and they'll just go home and plug them in, when actually the first thing you should do is check that wire. You can bend it and see if it cracks, and you can run your fingers along the wire to make sure there's no flaws.
Sure.
If not, you're looking at the definition of an electrical fire.
Yeah. Can anyone take an old lamp and, you know, rewire it with just a little bit of effort and make it like new, you think?
Yes, I do, because the table lamps, all it is you've got one socket and one cord. There's 2 wires that go around the socket. There's no way to mess that up. And I sell cords and sockets, socket covers. Anybody could do a standard lamp repair on just a table lamp. The floor lamps, however, they're a little more involved. They have the 3-way switches. They have that big mogul socket. Some of them have the floor light. You know, that's a little more complicated, and I wouldn't think the average person could figure that out. It took me several breakers. I blew several breakers trying to learn that.
Well, you know, so you said the simple lamp is just a direct wire table lamp.
2 wires, you can't make a mistake.
And there's no real way to get them wrong.
No, you could get them, you know, you just have 2 wires. Anybody could do it.
And so if you go buy a new socket or a new cord or a new whichever, no matter how complicated the lamp is as far as its stages, as long as it doesn't have those external switches, right?
Right. Well, actually, on a table lamp, everything is built on a lamp rod. You've just got that lamp rod and the socket sits on top. So it's so easy to just take that out, put your new wire in, a new socket if necessary. Usually the sockets are good unless they're burnt. Sure. So you can use the same socket. You just need to make sure you have a new cord. Because when you've got a cord that's not good and it's on the floor, it's on the carpet, it's going to start a fire. So any lamp that you buy, it's important to check that wire and make sure that it's all good. And it's, you know, if you didn't want to do it yourself, I, the Shady Lady, am at the Brass Armadillo. I am available to fix it for you.
We get lamps all the time brought in there where somebody's like, I just am a little afraid of electricity and I don't want to do it. I know you do it, and it is for this easy ones.
I've convinced a lot of people to do it themselves. When they realize how easy it is and how safe it can be, they've done it themselves. They've bought the parts, they've took it home, and they've done it. And it feels good to them that they thought it would be so hard, but yet it's so easy.
Mm-hmm. Is there any hazards, though, that they do need to look out for when they're wanting to rewire just a simple standard table lamp?
Make sure you unplug it before you start.
That's right. And then check everything over.
Yeah, as
and
long as
see-
you're unplugged, it's so simple to change that socket and change that wire. Now, the floor lamps, like I said, are more complicated. You have like the bridge arm lamps, the wire actually weaves through an arm and then comes down. That takes a little more time, but still, again, it's easy to do. You've just got one socket, one cord.
Good. Well, if you're just now joining us, we're talking about lamps and lighting from the Shady Lady perspective. You're listening to iAntique with Bruce, and we're brought to you by the Brass Armadillo and iAntique.com. And if you'd like to become a dealer at the Brass Armadillo, just mention that you heard it here on the show, and we'll give you a special rental incentive. Well, I think that that's very interesting that anybody can do it, that it's such a simple process, and they're really getting into making the lamp like new or changing it. And that's what I find interesting. You know, one of mixing and matching parts from one old lamp to another to make them both new. Are they interchangeable?
Oh, like I said, with the lamp rod, everything's attached to the lamp rod on a floor lamp or a table lamp. Even for some hanging fixtures, it's really easy to do. Some of them are putting them together, and some they like to paint them a certain color to go into their room. I'm going to tell you a secret. With some of the ones that have a brass finish, I mean, they wear such a patina. All you have to do is clean that up and spray it with a clear acrylic, a clear finish.
Oh, yeah.
And that patina just pops, and that's all you have to do. A lot of people like to paint, though. They want to have a matched decor in their room, and they paint them.
But you can even just paint like the base and get the, because I've seen some very beautiful old lamps that are dated because of the shade or because of the base. But what's in the middle would be very present and prominent today.
Oh, yes. Yes, there's some gorgeous old lamps out there. And a lot of them, when I run across them, I try to keep them, I restore them like original rather than change them up or paint them. A lot of the chandeliers are really popular because they're being used in so many different ways. They convert them to candles, even like I mentioned earlier. You had one that was at the Brass Armadillo that had a broken arm, and really to get that repaired, it would have cost you over $100. I took the arms off because I couldn't get the same size and put on a metal base with metal arms. And I went through the mall looking for some dessert cups and attached dessert cups where the lights were, where we could put a candle in there, and it just hang as a candle holder. It was beautiful.
And it was beautiful, and it sold for a very good value.
You got your money back on that one.
Well, let's talk about the shades briefly, because, that's where the real artistic aspect comes into a project. Is that correct?
Yes. Shades are difficult for most people because they're hard to find. A lot of the shades, 30, 40 years old, are deteriorating. In my booth, I do have a chart where I sell new shades. And as many shades as I have made, Bruce, the cost of making a shade, covering it with fabric, putting trim on it, putting fringe on it, the cost of that has risen. So I work with a lot of the new shades, and I can attach fringe to those. Like we talked earlier with the wire frames, people are taking wire frames and doing different things with them, hanging jewelry, clipping pictures to each rib.
Well, I'll tell you, if you're listening to iAntique with Bruce, and we're brought to you by the Brass Armadillo. I want to tell you about what's coming up in October. It's Harvest Month at the Brass Armadillo, and we're going to be having all types of events going on throughout the month. We're going to be selling mums, and we have all kinds of things for your home decor, outside as well as inside. And we're going to be doing prizes, fun, food, and festivities every Sunday. After the break, we're going to talk more about lamps and lighting from the Shady Lady perspective. Remember that it doesn't make any difference what you collect or what aspect of the antique business you're in. You're going to learn something here today and every Saturday. I'd love to invite you to stop by our store located just off of I-70 between exits 21 and 24. I'd love to see you there. New dealers are like oxygen, and we'd love to make you a part of our family.
Are Are you starting your day with a KCMO Morning Show and Greg Knapp?
I think it's great to have your kids with you on the weekend and do things. But the difference is doing things with them, like going on a bike ride, doing things with them, like going to the park, doing things with them, like taking them out to dinner, not doing things for them. You think you're being nice, you're not.
Greg Knapp, mornings 5 till 9 on KCMO Talk Radio 710 and 103.7 FM.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The British Prime Minister promising to hunt down the jihadists responsible for the killing of a British aid worker on tape on which an American is also threatened.
Late last night, the National Security Council confirmed Peter Kasich is now in the hands of ISIS. The terrorist group released their latest beheading video, true to form, by displaying another hostage and saying essentially he is next.
Fox's Leland Vittert.
Alan Henning was a British aid worker kidnapped in Syria and held by ISIS. On this tape, Henning makes a statement clearly under duress in the minutes before his execution.
Henning reading an anti-Western message before his captor put a knife to his head. And the home in Dallas where an Ebola patient stayed when he got sick has now been disinfected. The family living there moved to a gated community. Health officials are now monitoring dozens of people for any symptoms of the disease. Fox News, we report, you decide.
The KCMO forecast from KCTV5.
A chilly night is expected with temperatures falling into the mid-30s for your Saturday morning. Saturday will stay mostly sunny. It's going to be a cool and breezy day. Temperatures will climb into the mid to upper 50s Saturday afternoon with gusty northwest winds. I'm KCTV5 meteorologist Haley Schulman.
KCMO is Talk Radio 710 and now 103.7 FM. Something's happening. Know what that is? You will with KCMO.
Attention antique shoppers, if you're looking for the ultimate antique adventure, you will find it at the Brass Armadillo Antique Mall, just off I-70, between exits 21 and 24 in Grain Valley. We are the perfect place to stroll aisle after aisle of fine antiques and collectibles. Whether it's our fine antiques, vintage, or retro items, we have them all. Antiques are what we know at the Brass Armadillo. With hundreds of antique dealers and millions of items, it is a shopper's paradise. So come on out to the Brass Armadillo Antique Mall, just off I-70 between exits 21 and 24 in Grain Valley. We're open 9 to 9 every day. Come see what everybody's talking about.
That's the word. We got everybody talking. Antiques are all we know. We got everybody talking. Everybody's talking about the Brass Armadillo. Brass Armadillo. Everybody's talking.
My grades were bad. I would get D's and C's.
I appeared to be doing good at my school life, but if you would see me at home, it would have been a completely different story.
I mean, it was just rough focusing on school when your mother is somebody you have to take care of. It got worse and worse and worse throughout the years.
There are students who need somebody.
They can trust someone, and it could be the first person they've ever trusted in their life.
Communities in Schools is lowering America's dropout rate by helping more than 1.3 million kids every year get whatever they need to succeed in school.
If something was going on at home, we would go just stop by Miss Liberty's office and talk to her.
Communities in Schools vouched for me when everyone else had lost hope.
You can help change the picture of education right here in your community and across the nation. Visit communitiesInschools.org.
I hear people say we can't save every kid, but I think that we can.
You've waited long enough. Now is the time to have Aspen Lawn and Landscape create your beautiful new patio. Design and install dramatic outdoor lighting. Repair or improve your sprinkler system. Since 1985, Aspen is making the best homes in Johnson County even better. Just ask their customers. Right, Rosie?
They're professional. We trust them. They just come in, get the job done. We don't even know they're there, and our yard looks fabulous.
Call Aspen this week to set up a free consultation with a professional Aspen landscape designer. Wouldn't it be nice to have a cozy cozy fire pit to enjoy friends and family, an outdoor kitchen. From start to finish, Aspen exceeds your expectations. Just ask Mel.
It's the service and it's the follow-through. It's the relationship that you build with a landscape company like Aspen that gives us everything we need, and people love them.
Find out more at aspenlawn.com. Then get started. Aspen Lawn and Landscape, the best choice for the best homes in Johnson County. Why wait? Call today.
KCMO Talk Radio 710 and now on FM at 103.7. When you need to know, you need KCMO.
Welcome back. You're listening to iAntique with Bruce, and the title of our show today is Lamps and Lighting from the Shady Lady Perspective. Next week, we're going to do a whole show on Black Americana collectibles for all ages. So we will be talking with Nancy, and I just want to really go over some of the interesting aspects of the shade frames, because that's becoming really hot. But sometimes somebody wants like something unique like our T-shirt shade, or something unique like a 1920s look. And, you know, how are the different frames add into that?
Well, a lot of your older frames are so unique. There's the Victorian style with the long fringe, and they have deep colors. They're gorgeous, and I love finding one of those old frames and stripping it down and redoing it and putting on that fringe. You can get shaded fringe. And the panels, you know, whenever I recover a shade, I cut and glue. And the early shades, they actually wrapped the wire with a cloth.
It was just ribbon-like.
Yeah, it was a ribbon around each rib going down the sides of the shade. And they actually would hand sew the material to that. That's why they wrapped that with cloth.
Wow.
Yeah, and a lot of time in it. But when I learned, it was cut and glue. You measured out the panel, cut out your pattern, and put a lining on, and then you put your fabric and wrapped it around the wire. Some shades, the Victorian shades have a very unique style, and then they would have a crown on top. It just layers into a beautiful shade. They have wall shades. You can spend a lot of money on some of the frames. There's some that you can spend $40, $50, $60 on, but they're absolutely gorgeous because they have those curves to them. They have the points. They look like flowers. A lot of them they put on floor lamps, the big wide ones. If you look online, look on eBay, you can get a hold of some different frames. Some of them, like I said, are costly, but they're gorgeous when they're done up.
Yeah, and the more complex, I've seen some of them that you've done, that the different panels, you'll do a different color or a different type of material in them, and it really comes to life.
I made one time for it was a Van Briggle lamp, and it was a gorgeous turquoise blue. The shade for it looked like a lily pad. It came down like a lily, and then it had a crown on it. It was the hardest shade I ever made. But I did it in a turquoise color to match the lamp, but it was gorgeous. And I did have to hand sew some of that because of the way the shade was made. But it was gorgeous. When you have the right shade on the right lamp, it's just gorgeous.
And that's, you know, what I see, you know, we're going to get into it in a minute about the bases more, but the shades have been a real art source for many people.
Yes, they have, and they're getting more and more creative with them, which I think is great because people are coming up with new ideas, and that's good for all the dealers in the antique mall because people are coming in with ideas in their head, and they're looking for pieces that they need to complete their project. They're hanging silverware from some of the wire frames along with prisms, and there's so many neat ideas out there.
Wow. Do you know of any resources for somebody wanting to know how to do some of these projects?
I believe we did on iantique.com.
We did
a video on making a shade. And Bruce, you needed a little help.
I did.
But anybody can do it. It's a little time consuming, but it's very easy. And even so, the way they're doing them today, you don't have to cut and glue each panel. You could do half of the shade at a time and still come up with a beautiful shade.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. Well, if you're just now joining us, we're talking about lamps and lighting from the Shady Lady perspective. You're listening to iAntique with Bruce, and we're brought to you by the Brass Armadillo and iAntique.com. Sure would like to make you a part of our family, and if you just mentioned that you heard it here on the show today, we're going to give you a special rental incentive. So the intricate shades are a part of it, and people are doing the art with them, and they can go to iAntique. Maybe even get ideas off of Pinterest, right? I see people putting all types of things on shades these days. What are some of the things you've seen that people are wanting to put on the shade itself?
They use a lot of vintage linens, doilies, and that really complements when they use the old linens that Grandma had or the doilies, and they put it in a room, their spare bedroom. It's amazing how it sets the theme for the room. It sets the tone, and it's very.
I had a lady the other day who was just going to wrap a frame in chicken wire and put clip memorabilia to it.
Yes, I've seen that a lot on Pinterest.com. Everybody should check out Pinterest.com because there are so many ideas.
One I loved on Pinterest was that they used door off of old doors, the back plates for the doorknobs, and they went all the way around it, and then they put the doorknobs on some of them. It was just an architectural piece.
Right. I saw one that they hung keys all the way around the shade. And another one I saw where they tied a feather and tied it to the top of the shade and went all the way around.
Oh my!
The finished product looked great, lit up. It was so unusual.
And I think it's also interesting to note that light bulbs today make these projects more practical, correct?
They do, because they have colored light bulbs, and I'm telling you, those Edison bulbs are becoming more and more popular. They'll take like those, the industrial egg beaters that look like a cage. They put the Edison bulbs in there and hang it as a fixture. You can just take the wire frame and hang an Edison bulb in there. But there's colored bulbs.
And they're cooler.
Yes.
Because,
light bulbs have certainly changed. They're
in the beginning times, they couldn't just put a cloth over a bulb and hold that heat in.
Right.
Because that caused them a lot of dilemmas. Is that not true?
Right. Well, you want to use a little common sense. If you're going to do a small shade, you need to have like a 15, 25 watt bulb in there. And if you're going to use a 100 watt bulb, you better have some open air for that heat to escape. But most people they worry about the shade having too much heat from the bulb. But as long as you have a big opening at the top with some of the like the chandeliers, they're all open and they're okay. And even clipping on a little shade, you're going to use like a 15, 25 watt bulb.
Sure.
Where it's not going to get that hot.
But they didn't always have that as a resource like we do today.
Right. Yeah. We have so many choices today. It's amazing.
Well, I'd like to delve into a little bit about the complex lamps that we talked about earlier, not a simple table lamp. But what are some of the more complex things that somebody would run into where they might need your help or where they might want to try to tackle it themselves?
Well, lately I've experienced a lot of people wanting to rewire the floor lamps. Like I said, with that 3-way switch and a floor light, it does get complicated. And I have spent time in showing people how to do that. But then it was still too hard, and it took me a while to learn that. When you've got more than one wire, it's a challenge, and you've got to do it right, or you're going to, it's going to shock you. It's going to bite you.
I found it interesting because we actually did a video where we did a more complex
I think we did show a floor lamp when we did that video.
And it's just a matter of having to know your limitations, right?
Right.
And get help if you need help at that point. But then you can do so much more with those kinds of lights.
Right. Just as many want to do it themselves as there are the ones that don't. They just won't even go there, and they'll have someone else do it for them. And that's just fine because you can get it done at the Brass Armadillo through the Shady Lady. Another one is the chandeliers. Some of the chandeliers, instead of rewiring them, they will strip the wiring out and convert it to a candle holder.
We're going to talk about that when we come back. But remember, here's what you can do. If you love antiques and you love the look of antiques, put that together and you have the start of a fun and exciting business. The Brass Armadillo can help with just that. And we'll be able to take care of all the business details. And you only need to stop in and select your booth or showcase to get started. We make it very simple. You can start a business for less than $100 per month. When we return, we'll hear some more about lamps and lighting from the Shady Lady perspective. You're listening to iAntique with Bruce. I'm Bruce, and we're brought to you by the Brass Armadillo and iAntique.com. If you'd like to send us any questions, comments, or photos, just go to iAntique and click on the Ask Bruce button, and you can send those to me there.
KCMO Talk Radio, where Kansas City connects with the Dave Ramsey Show.
You have to stop and think about what you're putting your money into. You buy a $35,000 car, the thing's worth $5,000 in 20 seconds. Have you noticed that? And some of you making $50,000 a year are driving around in $50,000 worth of cars. And you ought to have your butt kicked up around your neck and wear it like a collar. I mean, something is wrong with you.
Dave Ramsey, weekdays 9 to 11 a.m. on KCMO Talk Radio 710, now FM at 103.7.
Attention antique shoppers, if you're looking for the ultimate antique adventure, you will find it at the Brass Armadillo Antique Mall, just off I-70 between exits 21 and 24 in Grain Valley. We are the perfect place to stroll aisle after aisle of fine antiques and collectibles. Whether it's our fine antiques, vintage, or retro items, we have them all. Antiques are what we know at the Brass Armadillo. With hundreds of antique dealers and millions of items, it is a shopper's paradise. So come on out to the Brass Armadillo Antique Mall, just off I-70 between exits 21 and 24 in Grain Valley. We're open 9 to 9 every day. Come see what everybody's talking about.
That's the word. We got everybody talking. Antiques are all we know. We got everybody talking. Everybody's talking about the Brass Armadillo. Brass Armadillo. Everybody's talking.
The Diagnostic Imaging Center's Health and Wellmobile in participation with Title Boxing Clubs, Roxy's Healthy Treats, and Hendrick Buick GMC Cadillac brings health and wellness directly to you. Free and low-cost health screens, scans, and health education information are provided daily in communities all around Kansas City.
This week, visit us at Free to Breathe 5K, CareWorks, BVMS Rock and Run 5K, and UMKC Trivia Challenge.
For specific dates and times and services offered at each Health and Wellmobile tour stop, visit us online at healthwellmobile.com. That's healthwellmobile.com.
Hi, I'm veteran J.R. Martinez. Do you know the VA now offers a faster and easier way to file your disability compensation claims? When you log on to eBenefits and file an electronic fully developed claim, or eClaim, you can get a faster decision than the standard claims process. Don't wait around for the benefits that you deserve. Visit ebenefits.va.gov and file your eClaim today.
A message from the Department of Veterans Affairs.
In 1999, you could buy an ounce of gold for $300. Today, gold is bouncing around $1,300 an ounce, with many indicators pointing towards record highs. Think about this. The U.S. Treasury is good at printing money, but they will never be able to print more gold. Where will gold prices be in a year, or even 5 or 10 years from now? Don't look back at gold prices and think, what if? Look ahead and add gold to your retirement accounts right now. American Bullion makes it easy to add gold to your retirement accounts. They provide a tax-free, hassle-free process for moving portions of your existing IRA and 401k assets into the long-term safety of physical gold and silver. Ask for your free copy of their latest gold guide. Call 800-600-4849. That's 800-600-4849. Call American Bullion. Ask for the free gold guide at 800-600-4849.
This is Catherine from Olathe, Kansas. I chose Minimally Invasive Surgery Hospital because they have a lot of surgery options for weight loss rather than just the lap band or the bypass. They have the sleeve as well.
Minimally Invasive Surgery Hospital.
My experience was exceptional. The doctors are very educated and their staff is very kind and willing to do anything for you.
Minimally Invasive Surgery Hospital holds free weight loss seminars on Saturdays.
I recommend patients going to the seminar first so you can meet with the doctors that are actually going to be doing your procedure, to know the different procedures out there, and to really focus on what you want to happen as a result of your weight loss surgery. My family was leery about the surgery, but once they realized how happy it made me, they supported me the whole way.
Minimally Invasive Surgery Hospital. Attend a free weight loss seminar. Saturday, October 11th. Call 913-322-7401 or laplose.com.
Greg Knapp.
Coming up Monday on the show, 51% of Democrats want to criminalize a certain type of speech. I'll tell you what it is. And you know who's really to blame for Ebola? The NRA. What? KCMO Morning Show.
Welcome back. We've been talking with Ms. Nancy Robertson about lamps and lighting from the Shady Lady perspective. Don't forget, you can send us your questions or comments or photos at iantique.com. I've been the general manager at the Brass Armadillo for over 16 years, and we would love to have you stop by, if nothing more than just to say hello. We're located in Grain Valley, Missouri, between exits 21 and 24. We're open from 9 to 9, 7 days a week, 364 days a year. Remember, it's the best place for the best value. We hope you'd come by and see what you can find. Well, let's get back into the lamps and lighting with the Shady Lady. Chandeliers, because they're so intricate and they have so many parts. We were chatting during the break about all the different projects Nancy's seen, done, or thought about. Tell us a little bit about chandeliers and what you can actually do with them.
Well, if you have one like we had that had a broken arm as a crystal chandelier, you could change it and put a metal arm on it. You can take it apart and replace it with other pieces, paint them, convert them into a candle holder. There's one that I saw that they used like a metal teapot and they took a silver tray. They attached teacups to it. They used a lamp rod in the center and they came down and had a silver tray with the filigree on it, and they strung down silverware and prisms all around the bottom.
So silver-plated flatware is finding yet a new invention into many of these projects.
Well, like you said, with the chicken wire, they're attaching anything and everything to that chicken wire. Any little pieces that they collect, from jewelry to postcards to pictures. I
can't tell you how many front porches I see old chandeliers on. They're not even electrical anymore.
No,
because if you're afraid of the electric, they can strip all that out with no hazard whatsoever, right?
Right. Oh, I've seen some where they've stripped it all out and they took off where the socket was. They put on a flower pot and put flowers in it and hung it outside on the porch. Absolutely gorgeous.
I've even seen them make them into the old chandeliers into bird feeders and one of a number of things like that.
Another idea I'd like to try is turning the chandelier, strip it all down, turn it upside down, and attach snack plates to it and make it a dessert stand.
Oh, yeah, that would work well.
It's endless, Bruce.
And all of the parts that are on there, they have value. So if they're not going to use them for the current project they're in, for a dealer, they should buy old chandeliers because parting them out has a value.
Yeah, sometimes whenever it was slow in selling lamps, I decided to start taking them apart and selling the parts. And I am much busier taking the lamps apart and selling the parts than I was selling the whole lamp.
I believe that, very much so. So what do you do personally to make lamp repair and have your excitement, your passion for redoing and remaking lamps important to your children?
Well, for the kids, it's, doing projects and spending time with Grandma. They love it. We do a lot of collages, and we've collaged a lampshade in their room, or their theme in the girls' room is princess. So we got some fabric, made a princess shade. You could do it for a boy. You can make a Batman shade or a Hot Wheels shade. Also, for the sports person, we've got a wood base and glued a football to it and made a football shade.
Wow. Well, if you're just now joining us, we're talking about lamps and lighting from the Shady Lady perspective. You're listening to iAntique with Bruce, and we're brought to you by the Brass Armadillo and iAntique.com. I sure would love to have you stop by the store sometime, and if you're thinking about becoming a dealer with us, just mention you heard it here on the show, and it'll get you an extra special rental incentive. So the chandeliers are fun. They're festive. A lot of people do them, but I remember one project you did, and it came from an old movie, right?
Right. A Christmas Story. It was the leg lamp, the infamous leg lamp. I found a mannequin part that had 2 legs, and I put fishnet hose on it. I attached a rod and put the harp on there to hang the shade. I made a red and black lace shade with long black fringe, attached it to the mannequin, and put a red bulb in it. We mentioned the bulbs. A red bulb just made that red and black lace pop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And they could do that with any part from a mannequin, correct?
Yeah. The legs are the funnest. I've seen just the top part, and that's a little more of a challenge. You'd have to, you could get all kinds of ideas as to maybe the clothing that you would put on it or the color.
Well, you could put a vintage attire, suit, top hat, and still make it into
right.
a lamp for a man. On a lady, it could be a Victorian outfit, and in her hand could still be the lamp. So pretty much anything that you can run a wire through can be converted into a lamp, correct?
Right. And to make it easier, even if you can't run that wire through, there's such thing as a side socket where the top part where the socket, and this is what I had to do on the leg lamp, the cord came out the bottom of the socket as opposed to going, because I couldn't run it through the legs. I used a side socket, and the cord came out the top and came down. So,
oh, wow. Well, that's very, very interesting. Would you like to share with us what you're currently working on? Because I think it's very appropriate for this month.
Well, it was going to be a surprise for your Halloween weekend. I found a bird cage. And I knew I had to do something with it, and a couple of the ideas I'm not going to tell you everything because I have to keep some of it a secret, but I thought about getting a raven and some spiders and maybe a black boa and something orange around it and make a Halloween chandelier for the Brass Armadillo.
That is cool. I can't wait till it comes in there because Halloween's hot, hot, hot.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Everything Halloween is what's in store these days. So, is there any other unique things that you think dealers can carry in their booths that could be turned into a lamp? We talked about a bucket earlier.
Oh, yeah. Well, with the ideas that people are getting, I think it's great that the dealers would if they could make and display things that even, they'll come into the Brass Armadillo looking for their parts for their project. And I think if a dealer can display something that was made and have them sell the parts that they need to put it together.
Well, that's really cool and very, very interesting because all the different things that have been made into lamps, I can't tell you, it's endless. And when folks go to Pinterest and see all these different things that get made into unique lamps and lampshades. And, dealers really need to take full advantage of that because it's a great way would you say a great way to make money?
Yes, I do. And, the fun is in the hunt. When you can go through the mall and look, some people aren't thinking about making something like that, and they can go in there and find whatever they're looking for.
Well, this week's show was Lamps and Lighting, and next week's show is going to be on Black Americana Collectibles. We're sponsored by the Brass Armadillo and iAntique.com. Remember, it doesn't make any difference what you collect or what aspect of the antique business you're in. We're going to teach you something every Saturday from 6 to 7 a.m. on KCMO Talk Radio 710 and 103.7. Like to invite you to stop by our store located just off I-70 between exits 21 and 24. I, for one, hope to see you there. If you're thinking about antiques as a business, the Brass Armadillo is the perfect outlet. And I, for one, would love to make you a part of our family. Go ahead, take a retro road trip at the Vintage Adventure at the Brass Armadillo.
Attention antique shoppers, if you're looking for the ultimate antique adventure, you will find it at the Brass Armadillo Antique Mall, just off I-70 between exits 21 and 24 in Grain Valley. We are the perfect place to stroll aisle after aisle of fine antiques and collectibles. Whether it's our fine antiques, vintage, or retro items, we have them all. Antiques are what we know at the Brass Armadillo. With hundreds of antique dealers and millions of items, it is a shopper's paradise. So come on out to the Brass Armadillo Antique Mall, just off I-70 between exits 21 and 24 in Grain Valley. We're open 9 to 9 every day. Come see what everybody's talking about.
That's the word. We got everybody talking. Antiques are all we know. We got everybody talking. Everybody's talking about the Brass Armadillo. Brass Armadillo. Everybody's talking.